Oh, she is?
Yeah.
I don't know. She told me.
All day, is evidently all day.
I don't know. That's just what she said.
Okay,
it is 1 o'clock. We're back in session. This time, Madam Clerk, do we have a quorum?
Yes, Mayor.
And it was time for Commissioner Cessna to do the flag and invocation.
Please rise. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, thank you for this beautiful day that you have given us. We come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting to help us make those positive decisions to move our community forward in a positive direction. Be with all of our citizens in our community, but especially be with our first responders and watch over them and keep them safe as they work to keep us safe. And this we pray. Amen.
Amen. Okay, next item is the approval of the minutes of the last regular meeting, which, if no corrections are offered, shall stand approved. Seeing none. Move to the next item. Public comment. At this time, we'll give each person who has comments today to come up to the microphone. We'll give you 5 minutes, which you would state your name for the record, and this would be on matters of other items that are not on the agenda. Don't see any coming up, so we'll move to the next item.
Mayor and Commissioners, item 6A, the governing body is asked to consider and approve allowing the mayor to proclaim May 8th, 2024 as School Nurse Day in the city of Garden City.
I make a motion that we approve the proclamation as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
There will be an event that you'll be asked to read the proclamation at on the 8th.
On the 8th?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Item B, the governing body is asked to consider and approve allowing requests from Bonita McClure, Executive Director of Beef Empire Days, Inc. Those necessary for the commission to approve include waiver of the $2,500 carnival deposit fee and $300 per day daily fees from the 17th through the 26th, and then allowing under section 6335 and 133 possession, consumption, and sale of cereal malt beverages on the alcohol or on the sidewalk, streets, and public park areas, specifically Stevens Park, on Saturday, June 8th from 2 p.m. to 11 p.m. for the Beef, Beer, and Boots event. And then a waiver of the sign code ordinance to place banners at Stevens Park, Friends and Frogs, Fleming Street and Mary Street, and at the West Fence at the Lee Richardson Zoo from May 7th to June 3rd for the chuck wagons in the park and the Bulls, Bronx, and Rodeo events. Finally, a waiver of sign code ordinance to place banners at Stevens Park, Friends and Frogs, Fleming and Mary Street, and the West Fence of Lee Richardson Zoo from June 3rd to June 8th for the Beef, Beer, and Boots event. And I believe Bonita is here.
That was a mouthful.
That is, yeah.
If I would have known you were standing behind me, I would have let you go.
This is the 56th year of Beef Empire Days. We have some new things planned, and we're pretty excited about them. We have flipped the parade and chuck wagons in the park to the first weekend, which is kind of where it always should be if you're going to kick off an event. We have a lot of new surprises involved with the parade. We invite the commissioners to be one of the entries in the parade. I've already spoken with Celine about making an entry for you if you choose to be there. One of the things that I have never remembered to thank you for, you make a big contribution to us as a city of all of the waivers and the things that you do for us to allow us to continue to do the things that we do, and we do appreciate it. We're very grateful for that. We are bringing a KPRA rodeo. It's called Bulls, Bronx, and Rodeo, and the reason we did that is because we want you to understand that it's a full-scale rodeo, and that is Saturday, June the 1st. Got a lot of exciting things. We hope to bring a lot of people to Garden City to appreciate the history and the community that we have here. And we're asking for these things to help promote that.
Mayor, I move that we approve the requests, all 4 requests as submitted.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
Congratulations on your 50, 60 years.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passed.
Item 7, congratulations to the Electric Department on receiving 2 Distinguished American Public Power Association awards. Mike, will you come up and tell us about the awards?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. On April 8th of this year, it was announced by the American Public Power Association at their Engineering Operations Conference in New Orleans that APPA commended the City of Garden City's Electric Department for achieving exceptional electric reliability in 2023. APPA had our utilities reliability data compiled through the E-Reliability Tracker to the National Reliability Data collected from the EIA, the Energy Information Administration. And they were pleased to inform us that the City of Garden City's Electric Department is in the top 25% of utilities for the system average of interruptions on utilities our size. Therefore, qualified for the 2023 Certificate of Excellence in Reliability. So what that means is basically the lights are on 99.9998% of the time.
Awesome.
Which is great. That 200s or 2,000 sure does seem like it takes a lot of time. In addition to that, the Garden City Electric Department has earned the American Public Power Association Safety Award of Excellence for safe operating practices in 2023. The utility earned 3rd place award in the utilities category with 30,000 to 60,000 worker hours of annual worker exposure. More than 160 utilities entered the annual safety awards contest for 2023. Entrants were placed in categories according to their number of hours worked and ranked based upon the most incident-free records and that the overall state of their safety programs and culture during 2023. The incident rate is based upon the number of work-related reportable injuries or illnesses and the number of worker hours exposed during 2023, as defined by the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, or OSHA. Excuse me. Anyway, so they said that in our industry, safety has to be the top of mind of day, every day, all day long. Said Scott McKenzie, he's the chairman of APPA's Engineering and Operations Conference. They honor these utilities that have demonstrated commitment to safety that runs through every aspect of their organizations. So journeyman lineman and foreman Gus Ramos and Ryan Bruley, journeyman lineman and journeyman substation technician, were in attendance to receive the awards on behalf of the City of Garden City on April 8th. So this award is a testament to the hard work that goes on by these team members every single day, day in and day out, and they go home safely. So there is a whole bunch of them ready to come across. And Mayor, if you'd like to present that safety award to them, that would be great. I'm happy to answer any questions. Sorry, I stumbled.
Congratulations.
Yeah, you're good. I think we'll go ahead and complete the item, and then we'll probably want to go over there if there's a lot of them, and then take the picture, and then come back and then reconvene. Is that okay?
There's a lot of them.
Yeah. I don't think this room is going to be big enough to get them all over here, so I think we'll go over there to them, and then we'll just kind of recess a little and go over there and then come back.
Perfect.
Is that okay?
Yeah, I think that's good. And I would just echo my congratulations.
Congratulations.
As well, Mike. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any comments from other commissioners?
All right, say head on over.
All right.
Get a picture right quick.
Yeah, we'll get on over there.
Yep.
Do you have to move?
Yeah, I think you can all go.
Okay. No, do we have to say anything for that?
Oh, it is one of my favorite colors. It's not my only favorite color. I have several.
Some people do glasses, you do cups. So.
I do. All
Deborah Bolton.
Mine that was like this big.
Oh my gosh.
You should have.
You should have.
Oh, that would have been perfect. You remember
You
that
should.
big one you used to carry that?
So I have all the ones I own are all 40 ounces, but I could definitely, but I drink probably 6 of these a day. So I could probably go for more than that if they made one that would fit in my cup
You're
holder.
holding.
If it doesn't fit in my cup holder though, it doesn't work.
Friends is on your screen.
That's a nice looking group. I'm sure we'll probably share that on social media for the people who are watching here today. We'll get to view all those happy smiling faces over there.
Mayor and Commissioners, under report of the city manager, item 7B is just a normal update from Cox Communication pursuant to their franchise agreement with the city, updating basic cable lineup changes. Item 7C is a staff monthly report from Lee Richardson Zoo. Do you have any questions over either of those items? I think we can move on to meetings of note. Those things requiring RSVPs, we ask you to do that through the city clerk's office. And with that, we're ready for item 9A, the appropriation ordinance. If approved, it would be ordinance number 2561-2024A.
Mayor, I move that we approve appropriation ordinance 2561-2024A.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passed.
Item 10A, the governing body is asked to consider and approve an ordinance to submit to the qualified electors of the city of Garden City the proposition of levying a 1/2% retailer's sales tax in the city of Garden City. And if approved, it would be ordinance number 2980-2024. Derek?
Good afternoon, Mayor, Commissioners. During the January 2nd, 2024 Commission meeting, the governing body directed staff to draft an ordinance for the August 6th, 2024 ballot. This ordinance proposes to submit to the qualified electors the proposition to reauthorize a 1/2-cent sales tax until September 30th, 2035. In April 2013, Garden City voters overwhelmingly reauthorized a 1/2-cent sales tax by an 83.3% to 16.7% margin. This tax was aimed at stabilizing the city's ad valorem property tax levy and financing transportation improvements for a 10-year period from October 1st, 2015 to September 30th, 2025. It marked the third 10-year reauthorization for a sales tax initially approved in the 1990s, following severe winter conditions which damaged roads. The sales tax, along with the unoperated 1/2-cent city sales tax and the city's portion of county sales tax, serves as the largest revenue for the city general fund. It has stabilized the property tax mill levy and covered the majority of the impact of community growth and inflation on general fund expenses. According to the most recent audit completed by Lewis, Hooper, and Dick, between 2013 and 2022, the City of Garden City's mill levy decreased from 38.98 to 38.51. During the same period, the city's overall valuation rose by over 50%, from $198 million to $308 million. And the corporate limits expanded by 28%, roughly around 2.5 square miles, with considerable value added via new construction. The general fund receives revenue from various sources. Although each dollar is not specifically designated for a particular expense, it's accurate to say that ad valorem property taxes and sales taxes primarily fund services such as police, fire, Lee Richardson Zoo, street maintenance, parks maintenance, and some streets and parks projects. These areas have experienced budget growth, albeit to varying degrees, due to the community's expansion, which required an increase to personnel and equipment. For instance, the combined number of authorized police and fire personnel has grown from 111 to 140, a 26% increase to accommodate this growth. Without the presence and growth of the 1/2-cent sales tax, which has outpaced the natural inflations of goods consumed, the community would be underserved in these services instead of receiving higher levels of these services in relation to comparable Kansas communities. So, if the ballot issue to reauthorize were unsuccessful, and no adjustments were made to expenses, the absence of this half-cent sales tax, which generated approximately $4,640,000 in 2023, would have to be offset by an increase of 16.6 mils. If the revenue shortfall is addressed solely through expense reduction, that level of expense cutting would trigger a sizable reduction in the workforce for those general fund departments. More specifically, this could only be accomplished by reducing the number of authorized police and fire positions to below 2013 staffing levels, at least a partial closure of Lee Richardson Zoo, and the reduction of parks and street maintenance staff and services. Community voters have consistently supported sales tax measures at both the city and county levels. Feedback from public information meetings highlights two primary reasons for this support. One, the preference for sales tax over property tax, and two, the estimation that at least 50% of the tax burden is borne by out-of-county shoppers. This memo includes draft education material consistent with what has been used to explain prior sales tax ballot measures, which staff and commissioners can distribute to the community. The governing body is asked to review this material to ensure they are comfortable with the language being presented to the public. Kansas State Statute 25-2430 prohibits municipalities from using public funds or resources to advocate for or against the passage of a ballot measure. However, providing objective educational information to understand the ballot measure and the question being asked of the public or of the voters is permitted. TWG Law Firm has drafted the ordinance and the ballot language. Additionally, the firm also provided a memo outlining the procedures and statutes applicable to the city submitting a question to the electors for authorities to levy a retailer sales tax. This memo furnishes valuable insights and guidelines concerning the legal framework surrounding the submission process, aiding the city in adhering to applicable state law. Now, there are three alternatives for the governing body to choose from. Alternative number one, the governing body may approve the ordinance to submit to the qualified electors of the city of Garden City, Kansas, the proposition of levying a 0.5% retailer sales tax in the city. Alternative number two, the governing body may not approve the ordinance. And number three, the governing body may give staff further direction. It is staff's recommendation that the governing body approve the ordinance to submit to the qualified electors of the city of Garden City, Kansas, the proposition of levying a 0.5% retailer sales tax in the city. Fiscal note, the half-cent sales tax generated approximately $4.64 million in general fund revenue in 2023, representing 14.05% of total general fund revenue. I'd be happy to answer any questions the governing body may have.
So Derek, when would this go on a ballot for up to the voters to vote on?
August 6th.
Of this year?
Of this year.
I went through all of the materials and it looked really good except for one little change on the PowerPoint presentation on page 15 where it's talking about what makes up the Garden City's overall mill levy of 160.033. On that item, we need to change the USD number to say 457 instead of 467. But other than that, everything else looked really good.
So I noticed on page 45 of the material, the little diagram triangle, there is a small typo. It says, where was it? In 17 mills in they city, and it should just be in the city. I just want to ask other commissioners on that little triangle, so I'm a little bit worried that someone's going to look at that immediately and not see that this is all sales tax, and they're going to suddenly think, oh, my mill is now going up as well. So I think something like the language in the very last Q&A question, something like the loss of sales tax revenue would cause all of that.
Somewhere up in this,
Yes.
or maybe shrinking that down, putting there. It's a good observation and good catch on the editing. We'll include that. Also, you think of arriving at the 17 mils, I think is an approximation and round up from 16.6. I think if our material says 16.6, and that's where the math lands on that 4.64 million that we've talked about, and that conversion in our 2023 mill levy comes out to 16.6. I would probably encourage the commission to use that 16.6.
I agree. Yeah.
Just get the number.
It's a pretty significant number.
And you can look at, you could possibly interpret that as trying to elevate, although I think everybody that doesn't care for property tax is probably going to already be elevated at 16.6, but pushing that up to 17 just makes it seem a little bit more dramatic. And probably pulling it back down to 16.6 makes it easier to defend the objectivity of our information that we're putting out. The commission should also consider that if you move forward with this, consider if you're comfortable with the language, the comments, the offerings so far have proved that you've reviewed it. We've had Mary review this in light of really the expectation of the statutes is that city staff for sure not be out advocating for a yes or a no, but advocating with an accurate reflection of what a yes vote means and what a no vote means. This material is very consistent with the last two reauthorizations, the one done in the early 2000s and the one done 10 years ago. But, things change over time and there's new court cases, et cetera, et cetera. Mary's reviewed this and feels comfortable that this falls within that expectation of being objective about the public information you put out and not advocating one way or the other.
So for what's actually going on the ballot itself, is this very similar to how other cities would put on their ballot too?
Correct.
I guess my hesitancy is it seems to me a little bit bulky with the wording. I understand the point that's making. This can be hard, but is there a way to simplify it even more, or use interchangeable terms to make it easier to understand for those who might not really understand what maintenance of transportation improvements look like?
Right, and I think, so we partnered and consulted with TWG Law Firm, and she drafted the ballot language per state statutes and applicable laws, state laws. So that's where that language comes from.
Okay.
I think our goal of this education material is to kind of make it easier for the public to understand.
Gotcha.
What's being asked of them.
Okay.
I do appreciate the statistics and the information that you presented in your cover sheet. I think that's really good information, and hopefully, as it goes out through the public, through the commission meeting, the recording of the commission meeting, that makes a difference too, and helps people understand that, why the value of the sales tax is important and how it's been used and used effectively. I think you've given some really compelling information for that too, so thank you.
Mayor, I move that, sorry.
Go ahead. And we'll probably have this information on the website, our website and everything as well.
Mayor, I move that we approve ordinance number 2980-2024.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? I'd just like to add that I would probably agree with all the comments made up here. I especially found that, just me looking at, I had struggled a little bit with the housing portion of it, just trying to figure out, is this an addition to, or it didn't explain it very well, but yeah, that little tweak on that would probably help a lot. I found myself stuck on the breakdown of the half-cent sales tax chart. That, to me, helped just visualize a chart, a pie graph. So I do appreciate that one. And but everything else looked pretty good. So.
Yeah, we'll definitely make those corrections.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Derek.
Mayor and Commissioners, item 10B, the governing body is asked to consider and approve an ordinance providing direction to the City of Garden City Police Department and establishment of uniform practices concerning bond practices in the Garden City Municipal Court. If approved, it would be ordinance number 2981-2024.
Thank you,
James?
Mayor, Commissioners, good afternoon. The memo that was provided does outline kind of the general framework of what we're asking the Commission to do today. So I'll just kind of hit on a few of the main points. If anybody, of course, has any questions, please let me know. Just kind of the history and the procedure of this. If you can all recall, back in 2016, the city adopted what's known as the OR bond policy. And essentially what happened, if somebody's going to get arrested for a violation of city ordinance, they would be given an OR bond, meaning they didn't have to post any type of a cash bond, corporate surety bond, anything like that. They were arrested and released. There are a few exceptions to that. For instance, if somebody was under the influence of alcohol or drugs, needed some time to become sober enough to where they are no longer a danger to themselves or others, or if somebody had exhibited some aggressive behaviors that the officers took a look at and decided that the person needed to have a cooling down period. So that was in place from 2016 until the end of 2018. One problem that was experienced at that time is there were situations where people would be arrested, released, and then go back out and possibly recommit the same crime or similar crime without very much hanging over their head. So we, the governing body, implemented in 2018 a modification to that to add that there are no new law violations as a condition of release. So the person still got an OR bond, still don't have to post any money or any type of corporate surety bond. However, if they were, once they posted that, if they committed any new law violation, the police could go in and arrest that person and revoke their bond, and then they'd have to wait around until the judge was able to give them a new bond. So since 2018 and more recently, the police department and municipal court and some of the general public has saw that there's some, that these policies have not necessarily addressed the recidivism problem. And if you have any questions about that, I'm sure the police and municipal court would be happy to give their 2 cents on that. So what we drafted today is a new policy where it's not going with the OR bond. It's really going to require a cash bond in pretty much, well, all situations except for some exceptions. So if I got arrested on, for instance, just any type of ordinance violation, what the officers would do is they would look at a bond schedule, which lists out all the offenses that you could commit in the city, and it'll have a dollar amount next to each one. And so if I committed, a DUI and like a possession of marijuana, it would probably be like about $1,590 roughly. And so the police would put that together, and that's the cash bond that I would have to post in order to be released. Now, if I can't do that because of my financial situation, we have the option of it could go to a judge for review. So I would have to complete a poverty affidavit, talk about my finances and background, family size, and kind of the traditional, some of the additional information, traditional information about that. And it would be emailed to the judge by the police department, and the judge would review it and kind of decide if there's a bond modification that needed to take place. So the judge at that time has ultimate discretion once she realizes that there is a issue of indigency, that she can give an OR bond, she could reduce the bond to like a cash bond of $100, she could give a corporate surety bond, or really any type of thing that she would like to, that she feels is necessary. One thing I do want to point out, though, that even though we have that process of cash bond and then a poverty affidavit, this does not remove the more traditional types of releases that we see with medical releases, where if somebody needs to be released because they need to seek medical treatment, or other reasons that are really just up to the judge's discretion. Sometimes we encounter those things. So that leaves that as an option as well. One of the questions that we addressed, or more particularly the city staff addressed, was, how long can somebody stay in custody? So we do have that. Let's just say I get a reduced bond from the $1,590 down to $500, but I still can't post it. I'm not going to be sitting in jail indefinitely. So 48 hours from the time of arrest, if I have not been able to post that bond, I can get out on an OR bond. So without posting any type of financial security whatsoever. The only thing is I have to agree to sign it. Sometimes we run into issues where people are being uncooperative, they don't want to sign the bond sheets and stuff like that. So we do have that protection built in to where if you do want that option being released after 48 hours, you do still have to sign an OR bond form. And the reason for that is because our forms, they have the conditions on there, the same conditions that we've always had, where if it's a crime similar to domestic violence, battery, something where there's a person crime or a threat committed against a victim, there's a no contact order. It's a no contact order. You can't go around that person's business, can't go to their house, can't have any indirect or direct contact with them whatsoever, and that stays in place until the case is terminated or the case the judge wants to modify it. Also, we will still have the traditional no new law violations as a condition. So this is what the city staff came up with and what we're recommending. Jennifer and I have, Mrs. Cunningham and I have taken a look at it, and it complies with the recommendations of, it's called an ad hoc committee report on bonding practices. It was a committee formed by the Kansas Supreme Court to look into practices of municipal courts and their bonding. And really, I believe that the options that they had was, one of them was what we're implementing today, which is a cash bond procedure based on a bond schedule, and then having the option of a poverty affidavit. The other option is to have a full-fledged bond hearing for every single person who's arrested, and staff just didn't feel that that was feasible to do. So that's really everything. The very last part of it deals with appeals, and that's really put in there to address situations that Ms. Cunningham and I have to deal with when things get appealed to district court. Just kind of put some of the rules that we've always addressed, it codifies them, so that way district judges can look at that, and it's not just, they're not just having to take our word for it, if that makes sense. Does anybody have any questions? We do have staff here as well, if you have a specific question for them.
Well, I just have a question. So I know with the police department being here, so I know, does this help also with their recidivism and then also just protecting the public overall for these kind of things? I know that you've been looking for something like that.
Yes, it does. We've had several incidents, over the past few years since 2016 where we see a very numerous amount of people that will either sometimes beat us out of the law enforcement center before we complete our paperwork and are already committing another crime, or have returned to the same place or residence and already committing the violation. So,
I appreciate that.
Anything else?
And so these just track the city ordinances in the City of Garden City, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
No, it's a lot of work. It looks like you've really made exceptions where you could, and again, this idea of not overburdening the court system, knowing that we want to make sure that we have something that's working for everyone. So it's really well done.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Mayor, I make the motion that we approve ordinance 2981-2024.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Mayor and Commissioners, item 10C, the governing body is asked to consider and approve an ordinance rezoning from agriculture district to general commercial district the property generally north of 2845 East Prairie Avenue. If approved, it would be ordinance number 2982-2024. Dante.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. Dwayne Palmberg, on behalf of Dane and Donna Maston, is requesting to rezone the property generally located north of 2845 East Prairie Avenue from A Agriculture District to C2 General Commercial District. The property currently contains approximately 1 acre and has 2 buildings on the property that are currently used for private storage. Garages are used for private storage on a permanent use with the C2 General Commercial District. The owner would like to construct a new garage for private storage. Since the property will be zoned commercial, the project is required to go through the site plan review process. The proposed land use is not consistent with the comprehensive plan. The current comprehensive/future land use map has this property categorized as residential potential. C2 General Commercial District will be the most appropriate zoning district for this use, as garages are permitted within this zoning district. Rezoning the property will not affect any of the surrounding properties. The governing body may make its recommendation and state their findings according to criteria in section 27.040, which is listed in the staff report. There are 3 alternatives in front of you. The governing body may adopt the planning commission's recommendation by approving the proposed ordinance. Number 2, the governing body may override the planning commission's recommendation by a 2/3 majority vote. Or number 3, the governing body may return the recommendation to the planning commission with a statement specifying the basis for the governing body's failure to approve or disapprove. And staff recommends adopting the planning commission's recommendation by approving the proposed ordinance. I'm happy to answer any questions that you guys have.
Mayor, I make the motion we approve ordinance number 2982-2024.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion passed. Thanks.
Item 12A is the review of budget calendar for 2024 meetings and budget assumptions. Jared?
Good afternoon. This is your favorite time of year where we get started having these budget meetings. I won't talk long today. I just wanted to kind of point out the things that are included in each of your binders. The first is the budget calendar. The highlighted dates are the dates that are specific. Some of them are the meetings that will be addressing certain budget categories or departments, as well as the deadlines that pertain to submitting the budget to the state, getting information from the county, so on and so forth. The background information is really helpful. It talks through the assumptions used between the budget. There are always the salary assumptions, the benefit assumptions that go with that. And then there are always some costs that we try to give a target assumption to the general departments to aim towards so that we're consistent in what we're practicing. And then it also goes through and talks through kind of our overview of how this process works, and then goes through each of the different funds and gives a brief description of kind of what that fund's for, what it's used for, kind of what it's entailed included in it. So especially for those that are newer, it's a really good resource to kind of put through that and have a general understanding of each of those funds that we'll go through. Included are the goals from your commission retreat. The CIP is the same as what was presented last year. This is kind of the overall bullpen of projects that are on the radar right now by the city. As we work through the budget, we will identify the CIP projects that have come through either your goals or through the public survey, and have a little bit more of a legitimate plan to present before you as far as how the amount that you elect to set aside for capital improvement will go towards the completion of these projects and how timely those can be done. And so that'll come and be added to this as we go. But this is kind of, like I said, the list of all the projects that are more or less on the table. And then the last piece today is the debt service schedule that shows the general obligation debts from the general fund as well as the water, electric, and the TIF fund. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to sit down with any of you at any time to go through the budgets. Our next meetings, we kick off going pretty quick here into the review actual budgets. They'll be presented a little bit different than what they have in the past. The visual will be a little different since they'll be produced out of our new financial software. But we met yesterday with some departments on their budgets. We're meeting the rest of this week with others. So fully underway, and we're excited. Any questions today I can answer for you?
I've never heard of the budget process described as exciting, so that's right. Thanks, Jared. This is a really great resource. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jared. Item 12B, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a second amendment for the Community Development Block Grant Economic Development Revolving Loan held by the city for stroke cleaners. Jennifer?
Good afternoon, governing body. This is a second amendment. You previously had before you an amendment with stroke cleaners to clean up a previous loan that had been given to them during COVID times. And that was to get their payments back on track. At the time, that just didn't happen. And so we actually had two different groups, stroke cleaners and another, that were behind. We did amendments to try and clean those up. And at this point in time, Stroke Cleaners has changed their business practices, and they do believe that they can get this caught up at this point, and actually reached out several times to work out an agreement that they felt like they could adhere to. And so because of that, we chose to bring that before you and work with this one particular group and try and clean up these outstanding loans.
Happy to answer any questions you have about that process, but the way that it is lined out in this agreement was developed by them. We kind of pushed to see how far we could go to get it cleaned up, and Sherry was awesome to work with and really does want to get this taken care of. She's very grateful for the help during that period of time and being able to keep her business open, and she does want to keep doing that. So.
Yeah, I move that we approve the second amendment to the promissory note.
I second.
Has been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
Mayor and Commissioners, item 12C, the governing body is asked to consider and approve a 2-year lease agreement with Stone Development, Inc. for the operation of Core Fitness Center. The city assumed the city of Garden City assumed the Garden City Recreation Commission leases when the two entities merged in 2021. One of those leases was with Stone Development, Inc. for the use of a building housing Core Fitness. Both Stone Development, Inc. and the City of Garden City, City Commission and staff have expressed an interest in continuing operations of Core Fitness Center at this location and exploring partnership opportunities with the neighboring Starbond facility under construction immediately to the east. The attached proposed 2-year agreement would act as an extension of the existing lease with a lowering of the monthly price to $10,000 per month and replacing as to form the contact information for the City of Garden City's contacts as opposed to Garden City Recreation Commission contacts from when the lease was originally signed. Staff believes in the months leading up to the end of this agreement, the city and the developer or building owner will be in a better position to understand how the terms for mutual use of each for one another's facilities that may be able to work into a new, more comprehensive lease agreement. Your alternatives are to approve the lease agreement with Stone Development, Inc. as recommended. The governing body may approve the lease with suggested changes, or you may not approve the lease and provide notice of termination. So this monthly payment is paid out of the line item listed in the fiscal note. This would represent a slight decrease from 2023. The history of this lease was originally $11,500 a month. At one point in time, it was lowered down to $10,000, then back up to its original lease amount of $11,500. And this agreement has been constructed in a way that would be $10,000 per month.
No, I appreciate the background that Matt provided. I did ask for the additional background. I know he sent it to all of us, but I really appreciate that history on that. So, and I think the building it's in great shape. They've kept it in great shape, and I know it's a really well-used building. So,
Mayor, I move that we approve the lease agreement with Stone Development Incorporation as recommended.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passes.
Yeah.
Commissioners, item 12D, the governing body is asked to consider a late application for second round of AFAC funds on behalf of Real Men, Real Leaders. I think I may be doing this one. Oh, no, you got it. All right.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. In December, the city opened up the 2024 Alcohol Fund Advisory Committee AFAC grant opportunity. All applications for both the first and second round were due on January 26, 2024. The first round of AFAC funding is for requests $6,000 and less, which is reviewed by staff. The second round of AFAC funding is for all requests that exceed $6,000, and those are reviewed by the Live Well Finney County Board. On March 5, 2024, the City Commission awarded $25,000 in second round AFAC funds to Big Brothers Big Sisters. They were the only agency that submitted an application by the due date noted above. One agency, Real Men, Real Leaders, reached out after being notified about receiving funds for the first round of funding and indicated they had intended to submit an application for the second round of funding as well, but through an oversight, did not get that application submitted. They have requested the governing body consider their late application. The Livermore-Finney County Board has reviewed the application and recommends awarding Real Men Real Leaders $12,000. It should be noted that Livermore-Finney County Board was only asked to review the application to determine the alignment to the AFAC fund's purpose and to view this application from the same perspective they would have had it been submitted on time. They were not asked to consider the late nature of the application. Historically, the city and county have split the cost of AFAC awards. If approved, the city of Garden City would be responsible for 90% of the recommended allocation, or $10,800. And the county would be responsible for the remaining 10% of the recommended allocation, or $1,200. The county commission is expected to review the request at their meeting on May 6, 2024. There's 3 alternatives for the governing body to choose from. The governing body may approve the recommendation from the Livermore-Finney County Board to award $12,000 to Real Men Real Leaders. 2, the governing body may not approve the recommendation from the Livermore-Finney County Board to award an alternative amount to Real Men Real Leaders. And 3, the governing body may provide alternative direction. Staff is unable to make a recommendation as this request falls outside the designated parameters of the AFAC process. In the fiscal note, the original budget for the second round of AFAC funding was $50,000. After the award of $22,500 to Big Brothers Big Sisters, there is still $27,500 remaining in the budget for the second round of AFAC funds. If approved, this would reduce the amount available to $16,700. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
So I know in the past, we've had, I guess not other requests that were late, but don't we do this like twice a year? Haven't we done this like twice a year or no? Or am I thinking of something else?
So maybe
I'm confused with the art grant fund. Which fund is it that we usually have like
the community grants
Okay.
in there too. So yeah, during your tenure, which dates back a little bit longer, there's been multiple variations.
Right, okay.
And there has been second waves. Recently, this idea of kind of splitting up the the smaller award amount, kind of that more experimental grant request level. And then the other ones that were like the established groups that receive core underwriting of their annual operational expense, those kind of got bifurcated. One of those, I believe, going through Community Health Advisory Board, the other one through Livermore-Finney County. I don't know. Callie's here, she could probably straighten that out for me. But but then there's also been supplemental. I believe last year we looked at a sizable cash balance. So this is the amount remaining in, when it says budget, what we've conceived to be the amount that we would award in a year. If you were looking at it from a fund accounting standpoint, there's, I believe I checked with Jared this morning, $390,000. I think there's an $80,000 encumbrance approximate against that for kind of a co-responder initiative. But even after that, there'd be another $310,000 outside of what we expect to receive and dole out as part of this programmatic approach to AFAC funding this year.
So Jared, so as far as like this happens in December is when it's released in December and then it's due by January? Is that when the AFAC funds or the notification goes out?
Yes.
Yeah, because the thing I'd be concerned about is if we opened it up and we suggested maybe if we did another round, but then we'd open it up for everyone, I mean, including them, but again, making sure we follow the timeline, especially knowing that we have those fundings. I think that this program is excellent, and I know I've probably been funded, and that's the hard thing about, deadlines in those applications, but I don't know if that's possible or not. So.
Well, that's where I was trying to get to, if there was another round of funding, if we were looking at another round of funding later on. I mean, I guess my confusion is we've opened it up for other kind of fall, spring, where we've opened it up before. I was wondering if delay that, and then where Commissioner Unruh is going, then open it up to everybody again, where then everybody has that advantage to apply, and then it gets reviewed in a open format where you look at all of the applications instead of piecemealing it together.
But as it stands right
I
now.
guess not piecemealing it.
No,
Where
but as it
it's
stands
after
right
the
now.
fact, and then we're looking at just one application instead of.
Right.
Where there could be others that would probably be applying for this. That was my concern, and I just didn't remember, because we kind of do one way and do the other way, and I was just asking for clarification on how this one was, if it was just once a year, or if we've done it twice a year.
And I don't know the answer to that question.
Yeah, I do think it's changed. So.
It depends. Okay.
I don't, to my knowledge, there is not another round of AFAC planned for 2024, but we also wouldn't be prohibited from having one. It's funds available to disperse at your discretion, and if you want to disperse them through a competitive format, you can.
Were there other people that applied that were not funded during this round of that you guys reviewed, or?
No, the first round was only Big Brothers Big Sisters identified, and then this late application. But last year there were 2 different rounds because you all as commissioners opened it up specifically for daycare.
And then for the health.
For co-responders.
That's right.
Yeah. Do you remember
2 rounds.
when that second round was? Was it in the fall, or was it sometime in the summer?
It was in the fall.
In the fall.
It was like October. It was in October when the level approved it. So there were 2 different rounds because the applications come out December, January, because they're usually due January-ish. And then that last one came out because the board approved it in October.
So maybe if we did a fall round rather than waiting until October. Because that would be pretty late for this funding for this leadership opportunity. I mean, I'm not saying just them, but others too, so.
I would almost value their time in kind of making a decision, because they've already written a letter on their agreement to go ahead and process through their board members. If we're going to award it later, what's the difference of awarding it now? It's kind of my thinking, but.
Well, but then again, you don't get the other people opportunity. You're saying we're making an exception for a late application. And then what if there's other people who would have
interested people?
Yeah, what if there are other people who would have done, but they were late also? So, I mean, I think that's.
We kind of opened that can of worms where then they come to us and they're pleading forgiveness, and then we're having to decide.
Yeah. There were a few questions in that first part that got asked in one breath, and I wanted to make sure one of them got answered. Were there any unfunded grant applications in either of the rounds? There were 8 in the first round. They were all funded. Those were the ones that maximum grant award was $6,000. I think the lowest was 5. There was some like 59, 51s, but those were all in the amounts requested. So 100% of the applicants got funded at 100% of the rate that they requested. In this round, the one that this request is for, and the Big Brothers Big Sisters was the only application. It was received, and it received the $25,000 they requested. So that question was out there, but didn't get answered.
Yeah. Okay. No, I mean, I think the program is an awesome program, and I agree with you, Mayor, that it would have been funded had it probably went through. Yeah. But again, this idea of if we opened it up, then that would give some others opportunities who could have also been late and running short on time. So.
I mean, this is what we do on, I can't remember what. I mean, where they come for those applications that they're 150 days late.
Right.
And we're like,
It's a HID
you're past the date. We need to set, if we set a precedent of they come hat in hand where they're late to us, we're going to be, and we approve it. I agree, it's a great organization, but if we do this now, it's going to be something where we're going to have that, where organizations will be coming to us, well, I didn't know, and I was late, and now can you fund me because you do have funds? Well, that puts us in a situation where it's not open, like you're saying, Commissioner, to everyone, where they have the opportunity to all apply at the same time, have it reviewed at the same time, and then that recommendation being brought to us as a board, as a governing body, making that decision. I think if we just wait until fall, open it up.
Right.
I think that would be more fair to all the organizations in the community. I mean, that's my thought.
And I think it also
That's
give
why I
proper
asked.
notification, you could notify, and it would be out there longer. And then again, with the same parameters, here's the due date. And that,
Yes.
do you have an amount or that you, I know that there's 27,000, I'm sorry, lost that page.
So that part isn't the question before the commission today, and I don't know that that needs to be resolved. If the commission desires to add around like they did last year, we could bring that forward as another agenda item, because you have a lot of funds sitting in that, in the whole alcohol fund advisory committee world. And you can choose to do something like you did last year, where you want to address a particular area, provide some seed money into that, or recurring expenses like the ones that fund these agencies. You could choose to do that again as well. So I think given the opportunity to lay out a full set of options might serve the commission better on another meeting date than trying to figure that out on the
That's
fly.
wisdom.
Yeah.
I think that's fine with me.
I do too.
Okay.
I think that's item number 3, where we're providing an alternative direction to this at this point. I mean, don't get me wrong, this is a great organization for our community. It's just, I think we need to open it up to everyone. Again, I mean, it's after the fact. We need to make sure that people are, when there's a deadline, we need to follow that and make sure that it's open to everybody instead of kind of, because I can see if we approve this now, then we'll be piecemealing this together, and it'll be kind of this revolving door.
And making sure to check with Level Finney County Board, because I mean, this does take a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of energy, and making sure to check with their board if they would be willing, not to have staff do it, but if their board would be willing to go ahead and do another round. So that would be something that we would.
And again, this is something where we probably need to sit down as a governing body and make that recommendation on what we're looking forward to for the investment of those funds back into our community. Like we did last fall, it was kind of a more specific area that we were looking at and providing funding for. It just, again, like what Matt said, we don't want to do this on the fly, and maybe another discussion item at maybe the next meeting or meetings down the road.
So if I'm hearing the commission right, perhaps a motion for you to consider would be something worded of the nature, voting to direct staff to bring the commission strategies for considering another round of distribution for alcohol funds?
I'll make that motion to direct staff to bring us information on the direction of investing alcohol funds back into the community.
Second.
Is that close? Pretty close?
I think so. Yeah. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thank you, and your committee, Callie. (12E), I believe, is that right? And we've got Mr. Commissioner Wynn going to rejoin us as well. Hold on, I'm just. All right. Okay. The item 12E, Mayor and Commissioners, the governing body is asked to consider and approve reappointing Laura Blake Bors to serve on the 25th Judicial District Juvenile Corrections Advisory Board for a 3-year term from April 2024 to March 2027.
Mayor, I make the motion we approve the reappointment of Laura Blake Bors for this position.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
Mayor and Commissioners, item 12F, the governing body is asked to consider and approve an appointment to the Traffic Advisory Committee. Tyler?
Good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. The Traffic Advisory Committee, or TAC, has one of the 5 positions currently open. Current TAC members include Gary Bennett, James McGowan, Nathan Haig, and Carol Turley. Jeannie Rupp has submitted an application to be considered for a 3-year term on the committee. City staff, along with members of the TAC, met with Jeannie on March 22nd. There's 3 alternatives here to choose from. 1, the governing body may approve the 3-year appointment of Jeannie Rupp to the Traffic Advisory Committee through June 2027. Or 2, the governing body may deny the appointment of Jeannie Rupp to the Traffic Advisory Committee. Or 3, the governing body may give staff further direction. Staff recommends the governing body approve the 3-year appointment for Jeannie Rupp to the Traffic Advisory Committee through June 2027, and there is no fiscal impact.
Mayor, I move that we appoint Jeannie Rupp to the Traffic Committee for the 3-year appointment.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
I believe we're ready for the consent agenda. Mayor and Commissioners, if there aren't any of those items that you'd like to pull off and discuss separately, the appropriate motion would be to approve consent agenda items 13A through 13D.
Mayor, I make a motion we approve the consent agenda 13A through D.
I second.
Commissioner Wynn, is that you?
Yes.
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed. We now have our commissioner reports. Begin with Commissioner Cessna.
Yeah, I want to congratulate the electric department on their awards that they received. It's really great to have a community that we have the lights on 99.98% of the time, but we do have windstorms and stuff, or storms that do create some havoc for our electric system. But great staff, and congratulations to them. Attended the Chamber annual banquet the other evening. Congratulations to our former City Commission, Deb Euler, on her recognition of being awarded the Merit Award recipient for the Chamber. So congratulations to her. That's a big award for the Chamber and in our community. Attended the school board meeting the other evening, and staff presented on housing developments in the community, kind of giving direction on how the community will continue to grow, and kind of our goal as a commission of 4,000 housing units by 2030 and 6,000 housing units by the Finney County Economic Development Commission. It's just giving the school board a little more information on a project that they're working on. And then Mike Murhead was there to present some information on an easement for water and sewer on a development up by the Garden City High School. Presented that to the board members. Just wanted to say, it's really nice to see the striping going on the main arteries and everything. It's really kind of cleaned up the community, and just always nice to see the refreshing of the lines and everything. It really makes the streets look presentable in our community. That's all I've got. Thank you. Oh, I do have one other thing. There is a legislative coffee this Saturday at 10 o'clock at the community college. And I know the legislature is trying to wrap up their session, so there'll probably be a lot of good information from our local legislators on what's happening in Topeka. Again, that's Saturday, 10 o'clock at the Garden City Community College Endowment Room. Now, that's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. All right, next up is Commissioner Wynn.
Yes, again, huge congratulations to Public Works and Utilities Department. The APPA is like the award for Public Works, and I guess very few people, I didn't realize this, but it's really hard to be in the top 25% for that field. Also, if you've adopted a dispatcher, remember to get things for your dispatcher. This is National Public Safety Telecommunications Week. It runs all the way to April 20th. So if you adopted somebody, make sure to fill your adoption duties. Commissioner Landgraf and I had a great time up in Manhattan with the League of Kansas Municipalities newly elected officials training. It was very insightful. One big realization for me really was we as commissioners are very blessed to have amazing staff, and all the questions that all the other newly elected officials are asking the LKM staff can all be answered by Matt Allen, be answered by all of our staff, and that is so lucky for us to have a direct line of communication and have answers right away with good support. Additionally, thank you to Mike Muirhead and his staff for making me look a little good with placing the 8th Street lights. It's, again, our job is very easy. We listen to our constituents and we ask for things, but at the end of the day, it is our staff's work that actually goes out and executes for us. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Commissioner Unruh.
I know you hate it when you go later because then you feel like you should just echo. But again, Mike, and to your staff, and I know it's everyone in the electric department who has really done an awesome job. And so congratulations for those awards. I mean, they're hard fought for, but they're basically earned. You've done an excellent job. I was really excited. 56 years for the Beef Empire Days. I cannot believe it already. And it is an incredible event. Bringing in a KRCA rodeo will be, if you've not been to rodeos, now I wasn't a big rodeo fan, but I've been attending more and watching more on TV with some people, but I mean, they've been really exciting, so I'm looking forward to that. Again, a big congratulations to former City Commissioner Deb Euler. What a neat award, and she is just really embodies what Garden City is about, and a humble lady, and just has really has adopted Garden City and adopted us as her hometown. The only other question I had is, I know, and I wasn't able to watch the whole county commission, but I wasn't sure if they took up the interlocal agreement with NDS, and if they did, I don't know. I was going to ask what they reported or what they thought about that agreement, and so I didn't get a chance to watch the county commission. So I would be interested, Matt, if you have any information on that, or if anyone else does. But
we did receive a letter back from the county commission chair, and we'll distribute that in a manager's update on the next meeting. Received that late yesterday.
Okay.
So the wording in the meeting was, from the chair, was directing staff to send a letter saying they were interested in continuing in the conversation using the consultant type agreement that the commission had approved as a model. The letter is a little different than that. The letter says, we'll get back to you. So I'm not, we stand ready. I mean, we know what you all approved, and we appreciated the county commission taking up. The county staff has been, County Councilor Schartz sent us the letter as directed by the county chair. So, I'm optimistic that something might get worked out. But again, we understand that, first and foremost, the commission wants to ensure that if we're providing the services, if our staff is providing the services or perceived to be providing the service, that we can provide the level of service that rises to the level of our expectations, which is a high bar. We get that. Yes. But fast turnaround time, quality connections, those types of things that we're hold ourselves accountable to. The secondary, if we can partner and do things in a way that preserves that, and then is less costly to our constituency, that's a plus too. It would be undesirable, I think, for residents of the city of Garden City to have to pay for 2 planning, development, and inspection departments, one inside the city that serves them and one outside the city that doesn't. But if that means providing service in a way that isn't consistent with our core values, I think that's going to be a tough sell for us to come to you and say, this is a good thing. Now, ultimately, you all get to weigh those in the balance of is less expensive a better option than better service, or would we take better service even if it costs a little bit more? And those are things that we can let you decide, and those are policy decisions for this board. But as of now, it looks like we maybe narrowed the focus a little bit to those remaining areas left unresolved by previous negotiations between the two staffs.
Good. No, I appreciate that. I do want to just to finish up and say thank you to everyone who's shopping local. I know that lots of times you can call or check online at stores and see if they have the things that you need. And I also want to thank all of the people who come into Garden City to shop, because I'll tell you, this makes a big difference for us as a city and a community. So thank you for all those out-of-county shoppers also. And with that, that's all I have.
All right. Thank you, Commissioner Unruh. Commissioner Landgraf.
So I just want to echo what the other commissioners said, and congratulations to those businesses and people who won awards for the Garden City Area Chamber event. I want to say congratulations to former Mayor Deb Euler, and also say congratulations to Buffalo Dunes for winning the Small Business of the Year award as well. So as Commissioner Wynn said, we both had the opportunity to go to Manhattan for the League of Kansas Municipalities. And there was over 130 attendees from cities all across Kansas. And it was great information on topics such as home rule, municipal finance and budgeting, COMA, and just so many other topics. So it's nice getting that information so that way I can be able to bring it back as a commissioner. And also, it was really a great event just to network with city leaders across Kansas. One of the city's strategic goals for this year was to collaborate with other communities. And it's through events like this that we're able to actually talk and discuss with other city leaders, see what issues we have in common and how they are striving to deal with those, and also what other goals they have as well. And finally, I just want to say it's crazy here we're already talking about Beef Empire Days, because it seems like it's just come up so fast, but it's just a great event because it's just an event that really celebrates the beef industry. And here in Garden City, without that beef industry, would be something just completely different. So just looking forward to that event in the future.
Thank you, Commissioner Landgraf. All right, so, yeah, I'll just echo what everybody else said. I won't repeat, but yeah, there's awards. I'll just mention kind of the things that I have on my list that hadn't been mentioned. I did have the opportunity to speak to three different groups. Real Men, Real Leaders, there's a coffee group that meets out at Randy's Donuts, and then there's the Lions Club. So they kind of just invited me to elaborate on what the city's getting prepared for and what's up and coming. So they had some really good questions. Real Men, Real Leaders students they really surprise you with their questions. How many square miles are in Garden City? Anybody off the top of the head? 11.2. Somewhere around there. Yeah. Then they followed up with the county. How big is the county? So good questions that they have. Yeah. It's one of those. I'll get back with you on that.
You could ask Google. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was really fun to kind of just talk to those leaders in our community. So. Other thing is with topics, we talked about the half-cent sales tax coming up, which is really important for our shop local. And that doesn't include just our area. I mean, you look at the area of Garden City, and it goes out to Texas and Colorado and Nebraska. So we thank all of those shoppers who come in and share those with us, share that tax dollars with us. I was going to touch up on the letter from Chairman Schultz also, so I'll just kind of echo what Matt had said, and we'll share that at a later time of that letter with you all. So there is a town hall meeting on the 30th this month, so if you want to come and share some opportunities for you to share your concerns, then that's a good time to come in and share those thoughts. Also, I'd just kind of like to bring up the budget that's coming up. Jared presented a little bit, but I'm excited too. I'm sure the staff is excited. We appreciate you getting with all the staff and the staff for putting together their budgets so that we can follow along and really kind of just follow along with you on getting that information and prepare for the future. So. Right now, there is a KCAC tournament. Kansas Collegiate Athletics Conference. Yeah, it's but they're a golf group that come in from the area, surrounding areas. But they teed off yesterday. I had the opportunity to kick off that tee off with a tee shot off the 10 hole. So I was suited up and ready to play, but they told me I couldn't because I had a tie on. No, it did get windy that day, but good luck to those players. Right now, this week is the men's golf tournament that's going on. Clay and his staff has done a wonderful job out there with Buffalo Dunes. It looks really good. I can't wait to get out. I haven't played this year, but I can't wait to get out there. And then so I will be out there next Monday to kick off the women's tournament, which they're a 3-day tournament, so they usually go on the Sunday before and kind of practice the course, and then they start Monday morning. So I will be there at that. So other than that, I believe.
Mayor, I appreciate you bringing up the town hall meeting, if I might interject, because it doesn't show up on meetings of note. Yeah, that date is the 30th, so Tuesday, April 30th at 7 p.m. And that meeting happens here in the City Commission chambers. It's also broadcast, just as these meetings are, on Facebook, YouTube channel, and Cox Cable subscribers can watch it on Cable Channel 8. So just we'll add to the record that you all will be meeting again on the 30th of April at 7 p.m.
Yep. Thank you for that clarification. One last thing, I'd probably just like to update on the fire station number 3 behind Menards over there. It's right now they're pouring slabs. They got all the foundations in, all the utilities at the point access of entry to those buildings. So you could, if you flew over with the drone, you could see the last of the flooring getting poured as far as the slab on grade goes for each one of those sections of that building. They will end up pouring the last section of the apparatus bays, which will house the fire trucks and the ambulance trucks on this Friday. So hopefully with weather dependent that they would be able to complete that. If not, it'll be early next week. So that's just kind of some updates on the fire station. So excited for that project to see the steel coming up and getting erected over there, and then starting to see some glazing and windows and roof on it. So that'll be exciting for the firemen too. So, but with that, I think that's all. So I appreciate everybody coming. See you next time.
That's how they always do it when you go to the Quick Trip.